A 32-year-old woman was left paralyzed from the waist down after she was caught in the crossfire of a gang shooting. A 64-year-old woman was used as a human shield at a train station in Hackney while gang members were attempting to shoot and stab one of their rivals. A car full of 5 university students celebrating one of their friends' birthdays was shot up, and one of the people in the car was left with lifelong brain damage and is now blind after being shot in the head twice. And Jay Huss's name was mentioned in court because of an alleged incident where this rapper poured hot water on his face in prison. Today we're going to be talking about the Billy Billions case. He was recently convicted of conspiracy to murder, and there were reporting restrictions on this case, and Chris Summers did advise everybody not to report on this case until it was over. I've read through the whole Substack and I'm going to break everything down for you guys, but before we get into this, I want to give a shout out to Chris Summers, who's made all of this possible. He is a crime journalist and he's done all of the work and put this amazing Substack together, so I'm going to link his Substack in the description. I urge you to subscribe to it. He covers a lot of cases involving UK rappers and he will give you the best information because he is the source. Chris Summers did briefly touch on this case when I did an interview of him in my, literally right behind here, we did the interview. He didn't say much about the case because he was not allowed to. And a lot of this case is the prosecutors using drill lyrics to prove motive. We saw with KO's trial, KO was sentenced to like 36 years even though he wasn't at the shooting but was wrapped up in the conspiracy. In his trial, it was different because he rapped about the exact gun that was used in that shooting, and only somebody who was involved in the shooting would have known what gun was used in the shooting. And reading through the documents, it looks like a clown show in the courtroom, I'll be honest, because this is his 3rd trial. In one of the trials, we know that he got a hung jury. He even rapped about it. And a hung jury is when the jury is unable to reach a decision. Alexandra Healy, KC, the prosecutor, who we spoke about in our last video about this case, she's done work for the SFO. She was involved in the Barclays LIBOR case, you know, this wide-scale fraud where banks were colluding with each other. She did her thing in this trial. And I can understand why they went so hard on this case, because multiple civilians were involved in this. Civilians having to live with life-changing injuries, living with lifelong trauma. It's not okay, and I feel no sympathy for any of these guys. But before we get into this video, guys, if you could give it a like, it'd be very much appreciated. It takes no time, costs nothing, helps me, and, you know, it takes 5 seconds. So just, not even 5 seconds, just do it now. And also, we got a quick message from our sponsor, absolutely nobody, because I am not a good brand image right now. So yeah, you're probably not going to hear that. But hey, let's get into this. So Billy's first trial was in April 2024, where he was not found guilty of conspiracy to murder. That is the charge that they got him on. The 4 people involved in this shooting are Dalvane Greenaway, also known as rapper DA. I incorrectly stated Rule Briscoe was DA in my last video. Apologies for that, guys. Dalvane Greenaway is DA. I'm unable to confirm and I cannot find any songs released by this artist. Apparently, Rule Briscoe is Shades, another rapper from the 98 collective. 98 being a collective of guys from Homerton and guys from the Holly Street gang, according to the prosecutor. On the 14th of December 2022 on Middleton Road, Hackney, a car of 5 innocent people were celebrating one of their friends' birthdays. They were sitting in a GLA at around 9:45 p.m. when a Vauxhall Safira, which had DA, Rule Briscoe, also known as Shades, and Julian Malala pulled up right next to them. And here's how this conversation went. Kenneth Boateng, who was a university student studying fitness, said that they pulled up next to them and told him to roll the window down, which he did. And they asked him, "Are you Fields?" Kenneth said no, and they asked him where he lived, and he told them where he lived. Someone else from the car, obviously because they were probably completely masked up, he doesn't know which one was which, but someone else from the car asked him, "Why are you guys here?" But before them lot could reply, someone else from the car said, "Who's that smiling? Who's that smirking in the car?" Then after that, someone said, it, and then they let off 6 shots. 2 of them hit Khalid Mohammed, who was sitting in the back. He is blind. He is now blind because of this. Kenneth ended up getting shot in the arm, and a 3rd person got shot in the hand. The trial took place in 2023 for these lot, and DA was convicted, Shades was convicted, and the other person was convicted. I forgot his name. And Billy Billions was actually convicted of possession of a firearm with intent, but they weren't able to get him on conspiracy to murder. DA confirmed that he was sentenced to 28 years for this shooting in this prison freestyle.
So they say it's me that hit me with a 28, all I can say is people. Yeah. What are they not understanding? I don't need a handout, I'll sort my own hand-ins. Heard about my bird, wanna know how I'm handling. We're still blowing loud with the governor on the landing.
Now he's in, the guy's in jail for shooting civilians, bro. But how else are you gonna react to knowing that you're gonna be spending 28 years in that same box. You gotta cope with it, but no sympathy. Now, Billy Billions wasn't there, and the prosecution acknowledged this. They are trying to paint him as the mastermind behind it, the person who organized everything. They got access to Snapchat group chat messages, and they also used lyrics in songs to paint him this way. Now, these are the exact messages from the Snapchat group which were sent about an hour before the shooting. Billions was giving instructions to Briscoe on where to pick up the ting, meaning gun. Billions told Briscoe, go to, you see on Forest Road, the last road, you see the road like if you're coming down Forest Road. Yeah, not the right where the Beach Road. The next right, Dalston Square right, go there and get the ting and make DA come there to you. Now, if we look on the maps here, Forest Road, this is Beechwood Road. So we could be talking about here. This is the only right on Beechwood Road. So if you're coming down here, you'd turn right onto Beechwood Road. He said, not that right, the next right. So it would make more sense that he's talking about here, maybe this park over here. Yeah, this looks like where somewhere it could be left. But we don't know. We don't know. But I would assume it would be left in, you know, one of these plants. One of these bushes. Now, the prosecutors say this gun was the same gun that was used in a shooting on the 22nd of November 2020. A shooting that left Nicola Bignell paralyzed from the waist down. Innocent, or she was on a first date. The victim, aged 32, was injured in Westgate Street just before 9 p.m. on November 22nd and was rushed to hospital where 1 month on her condition remains critical but stable. On December 15th, a 28-year-old man was arrested on suspicion of attempted murder and possession of a firearm with intent to endanger life. He has also been released under investigation. Police believe the innocent bystander may have been caught in gangland crossfire during the filming of a drill music video. They have heard from witnesses who claim it was being filmed by about 10 people in Broadway Market nearby, just minutes before the shooting. Natalie was paralyzed after getting shot in the neck while on a first date, has returned to the scene after 2 years. Oh my God. But there is some good news, all right? In 2023, woman left paralyzed in Hackney shooting opens first art exhibition. So she's not letting that stop her from pursuing her passions. And she opened it only a few miles from where she was shot. She's unable to pick up a brush or lift it to a canvas, so paints by attaching splints to her hands and also uses digital technology powered by her head movements to manipulate images. A former design student, she needs 24-hour care and had to learn to draw again after the shooting outside a pub in Broadway Market. Left her in a wheelchair with a C4 spinal cord injury. 4 men were jailed last year for their part in the attack. And DA was one of the 4 who was jailed. Good riddance. Good riddance. Rot in there. That is not justice for her. That's not justice for her. That doesn't feel like enough, to be honest. It doesn't feel like enough, and it's frustrating. It's irritating. Ruined a woman's life. You know, an innocent woman's life. No involvement, just going about her life. You idiots need to be taken off the streets. And the worst part is, it's like these guys, they're hearing about this, but they're still going on about their lives like they've done nothing, praying they don't get caught. It's actually quite sickening, to be honest with you. Other Snapchat messages show that Billy Billions was getting on to a member called Tankz for not wanting to go on the ride out. In the Snapchat group, Billions said, Tankz ain't stepping, man. It's a joke thing. Plan B, bro. Briscoe then wrote, typical everyone deserves a second chance. Why don't Tankz want to come? Tell Tankz he's not banging off the ting. He's just here with man, like he's not doing nothing. And this is where the prosecutor said the proposition that Billy Billions, the man who was trying to get Tankz to take part in the ride out, was unaware that the plan was to shoot someone is simply fanciful, meaning he's just going wild with his imagination. A loaded firearm is a lethal weapon. The prosecution say it's clear in this context of the extraordinary violent gang rivalry that the plan was to kill someone and amounted therefore to a conspiracy to murder. Now, the defense that Billy used, because he knew the evidence they had against him, was that they weren't planning to murder anyone. They were planning to hit a cannabis lick. After going through all of the Snapchat messages the police had, they say there is no mention of a cannabis lick. There's no mention of you guys plotting to go and rob cannabis, so it's BS. And the reason Billy's obviously going to say that is because that gets him off the conspiracy to murder charge, because there's no conspiracy to murder if you were planning to rob a grow yard. Now, a lot of the trial is them playing drill lyrics and quoting drill lyrics. They're doing this to prove that he had motive. Now, this song that I don't see on YouTube has been re-uploaded to SoundCloud, and they quote multiple lyrics from this song. You see music like this, guys, it's music, it's art, but these are drillers who are just getting on the beat and just want to talk about what they've done. Because the whole argument about drill lyrics shouldn't be used in trials, I hear that. But if you're literally getting on a song just to brag about what you've done on the roads, you are self-snitching, and you should not be angry that your lyrics are being used in court. What do you expect, bro? You want to gangbang and not rap about it? That's your lifestyle, G. But imagine this. In court, after the song finishes, the prosecutor says, is that not a violation? Is it not humiliating? And Billy Billions responded saying, humiliating? Like I'm supposed to listen to the song and cry or something. There was nothing I needed to worry about. If it was a song that was getting traction, I would have felt more violated, but the song was rubbish. It didn't get a lot of views. Which is true. The song, I mean, it didn't get a lot of views. But Billy said it didn't mention him and it didn't get much attention. Now, in the song, they did mention a couple of people who were allegedly members of the Holly Street gang that were murdered. One of them being J Dot's. There it is. J Dot got ripped out his clothes. He was stabbed to death in 2015. And that is over 10 years ago now. But this shooting, this trial is for a shooting that took place in 2020. But the prosecutor then mentioned a few other people that were mentioned in the song. And Billy Billions said, I didn't know them. I don't know them. I don't know what you're talking about. Then the prosecutor went on to Billy Billions' own music. Now, it's mad how this song is still up there. But this is the song that they're going to quote a lot of lyrics from.
Why is your lyrics so violent, though? Honestly, bro, what's wrong?
Oh man, no surprise. Armani's just interviewed everyone, bro. Frickin' hell. This guy's had some real bad guys in that van.
My lyrics are a reflection of me.
You're a violent man.
I wouldn't say I'm a violent man. My lyrics have to be accurate to me. Saying what I'm saying, I have to keep it as authentic as possible so that the people that's listening can actually relate. People are not gonna want to listen to no liar.
Yeah.
The lyrics have to be what I know. I'm not gonna talk about private jets. I ain't been on a private jet. You get it? I'm not gonna talk about this. I'm gonna talk about what I know. I know the streets. I know the roads. I'm there. Like, do you get it? I'm gonna talk about something that people know. Well, yeah, he's telling the truth. He's really from there. Do you get it? He really does do that. Do you get it? It makes sense.
Well, that don't help. Now, those first lyrics you heard were quoted by the prosecutor. She asked him what the lyrics meant. There were further lyrics saying, how many times have I been to London Fields and they have run away? Anything in my way get crashed and everything I do is on purpose. Miss Healy went on. How many times I pull in fields, anything L just ski. He went on to claim he was using considerable artistic license in the song lyrics. And the prosecutor then said, K.A. what happened to bro? Tried running his yard and he forgot his key. That chest and neck and back and chest and neck was done by me. She pointed out that in the video he can be seen making a stabbing motion at this point in the song. She asked if K.A. was a member of London Fields, their ops, and he said yes. Then the prosecutor said, you are saying you stabbed K.A.'s brother, but you didn't do it? Yes, Billy Billions replied. The prosecutor asked, are you taking credit for something you didn't do? Yes, I'm taking credit for something I didn't do. What was the reaction of London Fields to the song, Miss Healy asked. Billy Billions said, I wanted people to go to my video and I thought it was going to work, and it did work. At the age of 16, were you a Holly Street member? Yes, Billy said. Have you got previous convictions? Yes, Billy said. They're from hanging out with the Holly Street gang. Billy Billions said, they are up to me and I wouldn't blame anyone else, but it probably did have something to do with it. And bro, she just kept going on. She quoted lyrics. How many times did I make Psycho dash? He quicker than Booth and Cash. Shooting and missing is dead, so that day I didn't even bang off the mash. The prosecutor said, can you explain these lyrics? Now, Casey Booth was murdered at a child's birthday party, and KO and a bunch of others were sentenced to like 36, 40 years for that. Now, the prosecutor asked him to explain more lyrics, and Billy Billions said, in this context, mash means a firearm. I'm saying that if I'm going to shoot someone, I'm going to hit them. I'm not singing about as a real incident. I'm rapping, but I'm saying that I'm so good at shooting that I'm not going to miss. She quoted another lyric saying, had your BMZT bopping? And Billy Billions said, I was talking about relations I had with his girlfriend. Miss Healy wasn't having that. She said, so you had sex with his baby mother? And he said, yes. But guys, here's where J Hus gets mentioned. And J Hus and Billy Billions, they've had their back and forths before, but J Hus tries to stay away from this stuff.
You know, sometimes I'll be feeling like I got so much to say, but when it's time to talk, I don't want to talk. I've done enough talking. Everyone is going to get what they deserve. I swear.
That was some serious foreshadowing by J Hus. Jeez, man. Video's years old, and he said that everyone's gonna get what they deserve. The prosecutor mentioned another lyric where he said, should have done him like I done J Hus and burnt off his face with the kettle. Billy, when asked to explain, said it referred to an incident in which a kettle of hot water was poured on the rapper J Hus in prison. The prosecutor asked him if it was him who did it, and he said, yes, that was not true. Weird way to frame your answer. Yes, that was not true. The prosecutor said, you were claiming to be the person who hurt him with a kettle. You were claiming credit for something someone else did. Yes, Billy said. She said another lyric appeared to be suggesting London Fields gang members were going to be stabbed. Yes, he replied. She asked, you're threatening opposition gang members? Yes, he replied. And there's a whole bunch of more lyrics, guys, but there's not really point in really going over every single lyric. Like, I'm sure you guys get the gist of it. Back to the Snapchat messages. Hitman, a another rapper from 98, who hasn't posted in a while but has songs with DA. He sent a message in the same group chat saying, "Gang, gang, gang, let's pack something today." The prosecutor said, "What does that mean? Does that mean you wanted to kill someone today?" And Billy says, "No, no, no. He was just quoting a rap lyric from an American rap song." There was also another message where Billy Billions appeared to be saying the gang needs mopeds to attack the enemy. Billy said, "No, I'm saying we need mopeds because it's not safe to walk, not to attack." Then Shades Briscoe wrote in the group saying they act like nobody from their side is dead, fam. Nobody been chefed, nobody been burst, nobody been rushed, nobody rides voluntary. If you didn't know, then that's what you would think. Like, they acting like nobody from Fields is dead. And this is how gang members talk. Like, this is what they're talking amongst each other. This is not surprising. But this is where the prosecutor finally got a gotcha moment. She asked him, was Rule Briscoe saying that the London Fields members were being arrogant in saying that nobody's ever attacked them? This is where Billy finally slipped up and dodged the question. Not a good look in front of the jury. She then played a voice note from the group where Rule Briscoe said, "Somebody's going to be attacked tonight, most definitely my niggas." The prosecutor said, "That means somebody is going to be killed." Billy said it could mean that. She said, "Is someone going to be shot?" He said it could mean that. She asked him, "Did you hear him say that?" He said no. Billy said he often ignored many of the group messages in Snapchat because he was too busy. Then the prosecutor said at 8 p.m., 2 hours before the shooting, Billy sent a message to the group saying, "We need to be on the ride today, no chat." She said, "You're instructing them to go on a ride out, aren't you?" "No, I didn't say that," he replied. The prosecutor said he did not say anything in the Snapchat group about a cannabis scam, which at trial was his explanation for what he was involved in at the time. Then Billy said no. And the prosecutor said, "You're talking about going on a ride out against rival gang members, aren't you?" He said, "No. When I said we need to be on a ride today, it could have meant anything. So you didn't know what you meant when you said that. You, Rule Briscoe, DA, and Mr. Carla had organized the ride out, hadn't you?" "Not true," Billions replied. Yeah, you can imagine how heated the trial got, man. They asked him about all of the other people who were convicted, and he said he accepts that they were convicted for attempted murder. At the first trial, they found Billy Billions guilty of possessing a firearm with intent. But there was a hung jury when it came to the conspiracy to murder charge. And the reason there were reporting restrictions was because DA's brother and others were convicted of an attempted murder in August 2024, which involved a 64-year-old woman being used as a human shield in Hackney Central Station. 4 teenagers, Pinto Alves, Hansel Greenaway, which is DA's brother, Jaheim Thomas, all 18 and 19-year-old Marvin Edok Polo, have now been sentenced to a total of over 77 years for attempted murder. Video released by the BTP shows the moment they ambushed their victim while he tried to take shelter in a lift at Hackney Central Station, leaving him fighting for his life. A 64-year-old woman was in the lift at the time and narrowly avoided being injured as the thugs opened fire and brandished knives in the shocking attack. All 4 of these idiots. Another disturbing clip found on one of the assailants' phones shows the gang members dancing and rapping about the attack while brandishing a samurai-style sword. It says the trio left McDonald's and headed to the train station. They found the 20-year-old victim waiting for a lift on the ground level platform. Realizing the 3 teenagers were approaching him, he pulled out a knife. At the same time, Greenaway began slashing his own knife towards him. Behind them, the lift doors opened, revealing a 64-year-old woman who had just traveled down from the above level. The victim retreated into the small lift. As the woman inside attempted to avoid the slashing knife, the victim was stabbed. He managed to push Greenaway out of the lift, but was stabbed again. He managed to get himself back to the lift as the 2 other teenagers approached. Thomas then shot into the lift while the victim used the woman as a human shield. Armed BTP officers arrived on the scene minutes later, followed shortly by a London ambulance service. The victim sustained life-threatening injuries. Like, bro, the trauma you've just put that woman through. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. Here it is. Here's the video. They're shooting into the lift. Brother, that is so messed up. Oh my God. But Billy Billions was already also convicted of another firearms offense at Snaresbrook Crown Court. So he already had a long sentence. He's not been sentenced yet. We haven't been given a date on when Billy is going to be sentenced because he was found guilty. And the reason they delay sentencing is because there might be other cases, there might be other investigations going on, and they want to sentence him all together. Now, credit to the judge, because the judge did say that making drill music does not make you any more guilty of violent crimes than somebody who does not do drill music. But the judge said that the prosecution believes that the lyrics are relevant to proving motive for this case, which is why they were allowed to be used and why there were so many drill lyrics used throughout this case. So the precedent that's being set by the courts is that somebody making drill music is not enough to prove that they've done anything wrong. But what you say in these drill lyrics can and will be used against you in trial if you are referencing real life events, which is fair. You can't say that is not fair. Now, at the end of the trial, they say that he was screaming out, if I was white, would you do this? This is racist, while they dragged him away. And can you only imagine knowing that your life's over? Your brain's going to be all over the place. It's going to be frazzled, but I don't feel good, bro. Your gang, you're responsible for putting so many civilians at risk here, bro. You need to be off the streets, G, you know, and the system sees it the same way. Like, you, man, are responsible for traumatizing 7 people. You're responsible for paralyzing 2 people. One is blind and one is paralyzed from the waist down, and had to learn how to do things again because of you guys. You didn't feel no sympathy for them. You were just thinking about whether you were going to get caught or not. You weren't sitting there thinking, oh my God, what did I do to this woman? What did I do? How am I involved in this? And for what? To find who. It's just a joke thing, guys. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Chung Lee said, do not even let me waste any breath on these clowns. You know, they can rot in hell. And I hear you, Chung Lee. Sorry, I won't ask you them things again. Leave a like on the video if you haven't already, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace and love to every single one of you, and make sure to subscribe to Chris Summers' Substack.